when Narottam Das Thakur's spiritual master and best friend in devotional service passed away close to each other in time. That's when he wrote this song. Jaya Nilo Prema Dhana Karuna Prachu. Get a songbook? Suresh, get us. Jaya Nilo Prema Dana Karuna Prachu. Dino Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur. Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur. Suresh, I was pointing to that little song sheet there for you so you can sing along with us. That's it, yeah. Unless you know the song by heart. Do you know the song by heart?
No.
Oh, there you go. This is probably...
I need glasses.
Ask him to receive. No excuses now. No more excuses.
Where are your glasses?
In my car.
Where's your car? Kamoda Saruprupa Kazanata Raswaruprupa Gazanata Kadasaragu Nata Bodhita Bhava. Gopala Bhatta Yuga Kagavira Eka Kale Kota Gela Gora Natara Bhasane Kudi Bhamata Anale Bashibo Gauranga Gunera Nidhi Kota Gele Pavo Sesaba Sangira Sangir Je Koilo Vila Se Sangana Paya Kande Naruta Muda Anilo Prema Dhana Karuna Prachu Nino Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Translation. He who brought the treasure of divine love and was filled with compassion and mercy, where has such a personality as Srinivasacharya gone? Where are my Subdhamadar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopala Bhatta? And where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I'll smash my head against a rock and enter into fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to attain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. Jai. Narottam Das Thakur ki jai, Gopala Bhatta Goswami ki jai. So, we'll read first some selections about Gopala Bhatta Goswami, then we'll go into the Bhagavatam. There's some verses there. So, thank you. Bande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyago Sri Jiva Gopalako. Before writing Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj asked all the senior devotees of Vrindavan for their blessings. Naturally, Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who lived from 1503 to 1578. So how long did he live for?
69.
Talking in the back of the class, huh? 1503 to 1578. How long did he live?
76.
75, right? Okay. Naturally, Gopala Bhatta Goswami was one of these devotees. However, Gopala Bhatta specifically requested. I feel like I'm like filming a Monty Python movie or something. I don't know what's going on here. It's not appropriate. Why are you taking pictures of me? Right in the middle of class. I would suggest you try the camera another time, another place. Seriously. Unless you think I'm going to die before the end of class, you wanted to catch one last picture of me or something. Yes. Does it have to do with what we're reading right now? Microphones are in the same place as your glasses. Someplace away. So you had a question, or you wanted holding those for the questions?
On the disappearance days of the Goswamis, do we always sing that song? Yes.
These acharyas is very, very appropriate.
Can you say that one more time?
It's appropriate.
It's appropriate.
Someone may or may not, but it's the custom.
Okay.
So Gopala Bhatta Goswami was one of these devotees. However, Gopala Bhatta specifically requested Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj that in exchange for his blessings, he not use his name in Chaitanya Charitamrita. As a result of this humility, Gopala Bhatta's name is mentioned in only one or two passages of that great work, and little else is known about him is known. Biographical information is still available, however, in Bhakti Ratnakara, and much can be gleaned too by studying the life of Sri Chaitanya. So, and this is about his childhood. According to Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Chaitanya began his walking journey throughout South India in the summer of 1510. After many days, he came to Sri Rangam, a small city located on the banks of the Kaveri River in the district of Tanjore, about 10 miles west of Kumbakonam. Famous as one of the most important centers of Krishna worship in all of India, it is more accurately a center for worship of Lakshmi Narayan, an expansion of the divine couple Radha and Krishna. Nonetheless, Sri Rangam's main temple is the largest Vishnu Narayan temple in all of India, and pilgrims come from hundreds of miles to see Ranganath Swami, the deity of Narayan, in the main sanctum. It is here that Sri Chaitanya met Venkat Bhatta and his brothers Prabhananda Saraswati and Tirumala Bhatta. These were brahmanas of vast learning, and they welcomed Sri Chaitanya, the traveling mendicant, to be a guest in their home. At this time, too, Sri Chaitanya met Venkata's 7-year-old boy. What was his name? Gopala Bhatta, who would one day become known as Gopala Bhatta Goswami. So it was Chaturmasya, where usually the sadhus would not travel because it was the rainy season. So, and the next part of this is all about that exchange between Venkat Bhatta and Lord Chaitanya about who's superior, worship of Lord Chaitanya, worship of Lakshmi Narayan or Radha Krishna. So we're going to skip ahead. After discussing these subjects with Venkat Bhatta for the 4 months of the rainy season and allowing young Gopal Bhatta to serve him the whole time he was there, Sri Chaitanya decided to proceed on his tour of South India. When they heard that he was leaving, Venkat Bhatta fainted out of separation, and young Gopal cried with tears of love. Just to pacify Gopal Bhatta, Sri Chaitanya agreed to stay for a few more days. Now, is that a common custom? You hear about that all the time. Someone's going to leave, everyone gets upset. They go, I'll stay for a few more days. So when it's time for you to go, if we all start crying, you'll stay a little longer? On the ticket. You should tell us 3 days before your actual ticket date, I am going. And everyone will cry and beg you to stay. So I will stay a few more days. Okay, because that's the custom, right? Okay. During this time, Gopal Bhatta had a dream, although it was more like a spiritual vision. You want to hear what his dream was? Instigated by an intense desire to see Sri Chaitanya before he started to practice the severe austerities of a renunciate, to see him in his pre-sannyasi days, Gopal Bhatta was fortunate enough to visualize the entire Navadvip experience, and by Sri Chaitanya's mercy, actually enter into it as a participant. So, he's saying here, he just met him as a sannyasi, but he wanted to see what was it like before Lord Chaitanya took sannyas and those ecstatic Navadvip pastimes with the Panchatattva and Shiva Sangha and so on. So not only did he see it, but he entered into those pastimes by the mercy of the Lord. In this dream, too, Sri Chaitanya revealed to Gopal Bhatta that he was in fact non-different from Shyama Sundar, but Ajenda Nandana, the original two-armed form of Krishna, playing on his flute, by appearing in this form and then transforming himself back into his own form as Sri Chaitanya. What a dream. In the same dreamlike state, Gopal Bhatta was instructed by Sri Chaitanya, you will meet two Jew-like persons, Rupa and Sanatan. I have given them my mentality, Manobritti, in order to publish my teachings. But by your disciples, especially, these teachings will spread to every town and village. Keep going. Upon awakening, Gopal Bhatta went directly to Sri Chaitanya to serve him, but at that time Sri Chaitanya gave him the following instructions. For now, stay here and serve your mother and father. After they have departed, because he was just a little boy, he was ready to go. Right? Because he was just a little boy, he was ready to go. He said, no, you stay here. For now, stay here and serve your mother and father. After they have departed from the world, you may go to Vrindavan and join Rupa and Sanatan. So this means that as soon as my father passed away, my mother passes away, I can go? Right? She's 94. It won't be long. Who knows? She may outlive me. Then you go. You go get your glasses and come back. Okay. Always engage yourself in hearing and chanting the glories of Krishna. With these words, Sri Chaitanya left Sri Rangam. Young Gopal Bhatta never forgot these personal instructions or the dream in which Sri Chaitanya so kindly allowed him entrance into the Navadvip Leela and revealed his identity. As he grew in years, Gopal Bhatta accepted his uncle Prabhananda Saraswati. What famous book did he write? Chaitanya Chandramrita, right? Yeah, he wrote a few books, but that was one about the Chandramrita. As his spiritual master, from him Gopala Bhatta learned poetry, rhetoric, Sanskrit grammar, and Vedanta. Remembrance of Sri Chaitanya, however, was the central driving force in his life, and he was thus able to defeat all opposing views to the theistic conclusions of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And that's no easy thing in South India 500 years ago. Bhakti Ratnakar describes that with the combined assets he acquired from Prabhupada Saraswati's vast learning and the inspirational memory of Sri Chaitanya's example and instructions, Gopala Bhatta became well known for his knowledge and devotion. As his reputation reached unprecedented proportions, he decided that he was ready to fulfill the mandate given to him by Sri Chaitanya. He was ready to go to Vrindavan. When Gopala Bhatta finally went to that holiest of lands, he was greeted with great love by Rupa and Sanatan. Meanwhile, in Jagannath Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became curious as to whether the now famous Gopala Bhatta had ever arrived in Vrindavan. Local legends and rumors were traveling fast. How fast did things travel back then, actually? I mean, it's not like the internet, like within 24 hours the whole world knows about it, but...
The Shringi spread pretty fast.
The what?
The word traveled back to Shringi pretty fast in the first canto. Like almost like immediately after his dad.
Well, they were in the same, but this is Jagannath Puri all the way to Vrindavan, so... But somehow or other it was fast for those days. A messenger soon came to Puri with Rupa and Goswami's response. Okay, Lord Chaitanya sent a letter from his headquarters in Puri to Rupa and Sanatan, who were already in Vrindavan, and he asked them if Gopala Bhatta had indeed arrived. So how long do you think that took for that letter to get from Puri to Vrindavan in those days? It's only a week away from Vrindavan to Puri?
It's like 1,000 kilometers, more like 700 miles.
It'd take a few weeks probably, right? You got to stop for Prasad. A messenger soon came to Puri with Rupa, and then the return came back. So, says here that, traveling fast, like 2 months. Because sometimes it probably took years to get news of something. Oh, yeah. I heard something or other, last year that so-and-so went back to Godhead. Oh, okay. The messenger soon came to Puri and Rupa and Sanatan's with Rupa and Sanatan's response. Yes, he is here. All the residents of Vrindavan, such as Lokanath, Bhugarbha, Kashishwar Pandit, Paramananda, and Krishnadas are getting great pleasure from Gopala Bhatta, who is telling of your stay in Sri Rangam and your travels throughout the south. We accept Gopala Bhatta as our own brother, for as soon as he arrived in Vrindavan, he thoroughly adopted the life of a renounced mendicant. In that same letter, Rupa described a dream in which his deity of Govindadev had actually requested that Gopala Bhatta be his pujari. Maybe Dayanidhi could use that line to get more pujaris. I had a dream. Radha Hari personally came to me and said, I want you to be a full-time pujari. Vrindavan tradition asserts that the Bhatta may have actually served Govindadev for some time, but it is known that he eventually began to worship his own deity, which he named Sri Radharaman. Further, he eventually had a magnificent temple built in the deity's honor. This temple, the Radharaman Mandir, is now considered one of the most important Gaudiya Vaishnav temples outside of Bengal. However, at the time that Rupa and Sanatan's letter arrived in Puri, the Radharaman deity and temple had not yet been founded. For the sake of the biographical narrative, then, the story of the deity and the temple will be disclosed later. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu received the letter from Rupa and Sanatan, he happily shared its contents with the devotees at Puri, such as Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Haridas Thakur, and Gadadhar Pandit. He began to elaborate on the good qualities of Gopala Bhatta Goswami and told them of his 4 months with Gopala Bhatta's family in Sri Rangam. Overwhelmed with joy, Sri Chaitanya immediately dispatched a messenger with a letter for Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis. Along with his letter, he sent a package to Gopala Bhatta, which included his loincloth and other personal articles. Traditionally, such items are considered worshipable by the devotees. It may be in here also. I know it's in another description. He sent his little little wooden seat that he used to sit on. Lord Chaitanya used to sit on, and Gopala Bhatta would sit on that when he did his puja. When the letter and package arrived in Vrindavan, Rupa and Sanatan became ecstatic. Gopala Bhatta was deeply grateful that Sri Chaitanya had sent his cloth, and he treasured the sacred paraphernalia for the remaining portion of his life. Further, as Rupa had read the letter, he found specific instructions for Gopala Bhatta. Do not become dependent upon security or adopt a permanent residence. Spend much time assisting Rupa and Sanatan in compiling transcendental literature, and thoroughly study this literature as well. These instructions he took to heart, and he soon wrote a book entitled Shadkriya Saradipika. You have a copy of that, don't you? The original? Probably not. Okay. A classic on the tenets of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Then he edited the Hari Bhakti Vilas, which was written by Sanatana Goswami. In addition, he wrote a scholarly introduction to Jiva Goswami's Sat Sandarbha and a commentary on Bilal Mangal Thakur's Krishna Karnamrita. Okay. Since his most important contribution to the literature of the Gaudiya Vaishnavism served to define the rites and rituals of gradual spiritual progress, a brief survey of these particular works is in order. Shatkriya Saradipika, which roughly translates as the lamp that lights the essence of spiritual rituals, deals primarily with married life. It delineates with great care the 10 samskaras, or holy rites, from marriage, impregnation, haircutting ceremony, to the beginning and learning of the study of scriptures. With this work, Gopala Bhatta Goswami sought to help the common people by giving them valuable guidance on marriage and the gradual pursuance of spiritual life, both for themselves and their offspring. Next, he compiled a work called Samskara Deepika. That's the second half of that book, which elucidates on the rules and behavior and conduct for sannyasis or renunciates. Who's anxious to look at that? Anyone in this room? Chad? Sure. Okay, we'll give you first, second, and sannyas at the same time. Okay. It gives details that explain Vaishnav sannyasi names and the scripturally based rituals with which one can officially adopt the life of a traveling mendicant. Both the Shatkriya Saradipika and Samskara Deepika elaborate on fire sacrifice and initiation as originally taught in the Vedic tradition. And a little bit more here. Time is it? This is a story of, a little bit about the story about his, the appearance of Radharaman. Because then it talks about Hari Bhakti Vilas and goes through all the different parts of the Hari Bhakti Vilas. Living his life as an embodiment of the scriptures, his fame spread throughout all India. It took a while, though, because he wasn't like on the evening news. And he became known as the younger brother of Rupa and Sanatan. In Vrindavan, his reputation as a master in the process of bhakti became especially prominent after a trip to the Gandaki River in Nepal. So why was that? There he procured 12 shilas, stones that are considered sacred incarnations of Krishna, and he brought them back to Vrindavan. The trip to Nepal and back was arduous, as in those days it meant traveling by foot. But Gopala Bhatta was undaunted. Upon arriving in Vrindavan, however, he felt unqualified to worship the sacred stones, so he again journeyed back to the Gandaki in Nepal. Imagine that, he comes all the way back and goes, actually, I don't feel qualified to worship. So he walks all the way back. Carefully placing the shilas in the holy river while chanting the appropriate mantras, the sacred stones spontaneously jumped back into his, actually it says his loda in another thing. Trying 3 or 4 times to leave them in the river, he found that he was not able to do so. For the same mystical phenomena occurred again and again. In other words, they jumped back into his loda. He took this as a sign from Krishna. I would take it as a sign from Krishna. And he was then to take them back to Vrindavan and worship them. This he did, and he soon became known in Vrindavan as the Goswami who worshipped 12 unique shilas. He must have a name. There must be a name like the Goswami married. Do you know what it is? Find out. Someone should give it to someone as their initiated name or a sannyas name. The Goswami. Okay, he carried them all the time in a cloth bag that hung from his neck. Now, how big do you think these Shilas were? You know, like that. It says the most auspicious, about the size of a bale fruit. Oh, no, a malaki. So probably that. It's not that he had like 12 of these or these, like our Govardhan around his neck, the little tiny ones. In 1542, 8 years after the disappearance of Sri Chaitanya, Gopala Bhatta felt the need to worship a deity much like Rupa Goswami's Govinda deity. This need became especially poignant when a wealthy merchant gave him jewelry, ornaments, and fine cloth for the worship of the Lord. Because Shilas do not have a human-like form, Gopala Bhatta considered that these ornaments could not be properly used in their worship. Therefore, he placed all these items before his Shilas and fervently prayed for proper direction, which at least on that particular evening was not granted to him. The next morning, however, he found... Oh, excuse me. Okay. The next morning, however, he found that one of the Shilas, known as the Damodar Shila, had transformed into an incomparably beautiful deity of Krishna, just as he had desired. Overcome with happiness, he fell to the ground in all humility and began to offer humble obeisances and profound eulogies. Hearing of the miraculous event, Rupa, Sanat, and many other senior Vaishnavas hurried to the sacred spot where Gopala Bhatta was offering salutations of love. They were all there when he named the deity Sri Radha Dev. Local tradition asserts that the deity was given this name, which means Krishna who brings pleasure to Radharani, because the area where the deity appeared is near that of the Rasa dance, where Krishna increased Radharani's attachment and love for him by running away. This Radharaman deity is worshipped in the same place today, although the modern Radharaman temple in Vrindavan now boasts an impressive enclosure which was eventually built just outside the northern wall of Nindivan. The original structure of the temple has been refurbished many times, the latest being completed in 1826 by Shah Kundan Lal and his brother Shah Pundan. Although Sri Ramanadev himself is not more than 12 inches in height, pilgrims still come from all parts of India just to see this staggering beauty. Curiously, there is no deity of Radharani in the temple, but at Radharaman's left side there's a small silver crown to acknowledge her presence. Oh, here's something. Once, several years after Radharaman Dev's first appeared to Gopala Bhatta, the Bhatta was worshipping the deity and became overwhelmed with a longing for Sri Chaitanya, feeling intensely the mood of love and separation, remembering that he had at one time promised his father that he would worship Lord Chaitanya. He began to feel a lack of chastity in worshipping Radharaman. After all, although the deity was in one sense non-different from Sri Chaitanya, it was still a manifestation of Krishna playing on his flute. As soon as Gopala Bhatta started to feel these emotions, the deity manifested his feature as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gopala Bhatta's tears of love began to flow like the river Ganga as he realized once again Sri Chaitanya's identity as Krishna now in the form of Radharaman Dev. This is a realization that he perpetually cherished and shared with others. It says he was the incarnation of Ananga Manjari, the younger sister of Srimati Radharani. And sometimes they say Guna Manjari. Okay. Now, have you been there on his appearance day? Is that when they turn on the sprinklers? Okay. Appearance day, yeah. Because there's another description, the devotees saying it's an amazing account because they have this big Abhishekam, and at the end, it's a hot, hot time of the year. They actually have this whole sprinkler system in the temple room, and they turn it on, and the big fan also shoots water all over the devotees. So they're getting all this. All right, have you been to that? Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that, but on his appearance day, I've been there once.
Okay. So I think it may be his appearance day. Anyways, I don't know how old that article is, but the devotee was saying they just... it's all like this whole, spraying system, and all the devotees in temple get soaked, cooled off by the water. Okay, so we got read a little bit from Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th Canto, 17th chapter. The Lord agrees to become Aditi's son. We're going to read verses 24 through 28, which will complete this chapter. Adite Adishtitam Garbham Bhagavantam Sanatanam Hiranyagarbo Vigyaya Samidhe Guya Namabi Aditya Dishtitam Garbham Bhagavantam Sanatanam Hiranyagarbo Vingyaya Samidhe Guya Namabi Aditya Dishtitam Garbham Bhagavantam Sanatanam Hiranyagarbo Vingyaya Samidhe Guya Namabihi. Anyone like to chant? Maybe 3 devotees chant, then we'll go on. Aditya Dishtitam Garbham Bhagavantam Sanatanam Hiranyagarbo Vingyaya Samidhe Guya Namabi. Brahmacharis? Brahmacharis. They should give a next preference because of their austere status in life. Anyone, 2 brahmacharis like to chant? No. And now they're renounced also. They're renouncing their... Would you like to chant, Prabhu? Aditya Dishidham Garbham Bhagavantam Sanatanam Hiranyagarbo Vingyaya Samidhe Guya Namabi. Any initiated devotee like to chant? Aditya Dishidham Garbham Bhagavantam Sanatanam Hiranyagarbo Vigyaya Samidhe Guya Namabi. Aditya Dishidham Garbham Bhagavantam Sanatanam Hiranyagarbo Vingyaya Samidhe Guya Namabi. Adite, in the womb of Aditi, Dishtitam, being established, Garbham, pregnancy, Bhagavantam, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sanatanam, who is eternal, Hiranyagarbha, Lord Brahma, Vigyaya, knowing this, Samidhe, offered prayers, Guyanamibihi, with transcendental names. Translation: when Lord Brahma understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead was now within the womb of Aditi, he began to offer prayers to the Lord by reciting transcendental names. Purport: the Supreme Personality of Godhead exists everywhere. Andantarastha panamanu chayantarastam. Where's that from? Brahmasamhita. Sure. Therefore, when one chants his transcendental names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is automatically pleased by such sankirtan. It is not that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is absent, He is present there. And when a devotee utters the transcendental name, it is not a material sound. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is naturally pleased. A devotee knows that the Lord is present everywhere and that one can please Him simply by chanting His holy name. Text 25, translation. Lord Brahma said, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, all glories unto you who are glorified by all and whose activities are all uncommon. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, O Lord of the Transcendentalist, controller of the three modes of nature. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you again and again. Namo Namaha. 26 translation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the all-pervading Lord Vishnu, who has entered the cores of the hearts of all living entities. All the three worlds reside within your navel, yet you are above the three worlds. Formerly you appeared as the son of Prishni. To you, the Supreme Creator, who are understood only through the Vedic knowledge, I offer my respectful obeisances. Text 27, translation. O my Lord, you are the beginning, the manifestation, and the ultimate dissolution of the three worlds, and you are celebrated in the Vedas as a reservoir of unlimited potencies, the Supreme Person. O my Lord, as waves attract branches and leaves that have fallen into deep water, you, the Supreme Eternal Time Factor, attract everything in this universe. Purport. The Time Factor is sometimes described as Kala Stota, waves of time. Everything in the material world is within the Time Factor and is being carried away by the waves of attraction, which represent the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 28, the last verse of the chapter. O my Lord, you are the original generator of all living entities, stationary or moving, and you are also the generator of the Prajapatis. O Lord, as a boat is the only hope for a person drowning in the water, you are the only shelter for the demigods who are now bereft of their heavenly position. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 8th canto, 17th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled, The Supreme Lord Agrees to Become Aditi's Son. A little water here. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Minitam Nena Taismai Sri Gurve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Nena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swabadandikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityanandam Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vanchakapatarubhascha kripa sindhu bevacha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So by your good wishes and ardent prayers, I'll say a few words. We'll end at 8:30, 2 minutes ago. So the first purport is referring, because it's said here that Lord Brahma, understanding that Vamanadev had appeared in the womb of Aditi, he's offering all kinds of prayers, Guya Namabihi, with transcendental names. So there's an appropriate way of glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And you see through his prayers, these are all different glorifications of the Lord. And Prabhupada's saying that Krishna is everywhere, Andantarasta, Panamai Chayantarasta. What is that? But it begins with, how does that begin though? Goloka Eva Kilatma Bhuto. He's in Goloka, but then he's also within every single atom, right? I don't know exactly the first line of that, but Goloka, he's in Goloka, but he's also Andantarasta. That means in every single atom he's there. And that Paramanu, like little atom. So he's everywhere. Krishna's everywhere, and he's not different from his name. Bina Tvam Nami Nami No. There's no difference. Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti Satarpita Smaranina Kala Etadrishi Tabakipa Bhagavamamapi Duradaiva Mihajini Nanaragyo. That's the catch right there. So Krishna is non-different than his name, and he has unlimited names, and all his potency is there. Prabhupada says here that we may think he's absent. Say, Hare Krishna. Where's Krishna? Why isn't he right in front of me? But actually he's right there. So the problem is, as described in this verse by Lord Chaitanya, Durdaivam, it's our misfortune that we don't understand that we have no attraction. Krishna's appearing in his name, but we don't have the realization, we don't have the attraction It's not that Krishna's not there, it's just we're in a very unfortunate situation. We can't appreciate it. What is that verse in the Bible about pearls and swine? You don't know that one? Did you go to catechism or something like that? Nice.
Don't cast your pearls before swine.
Right, so if you throw a bunch of jewels in front of pigs, what's going to happen? Will they pick it up and wear the necklace? What do you think they're going to do? They just grind it into the mud. They have no appreciation for what it is. In fact, it's like useless. They'd rather have a garland made out of stool. Right? Oh, very nice. Like that, because they like stool. But they can't appreciate it. So there's a verse there. I don't know, do you know where that is? Why Jesus said that? It's obviously about some people can't appreciate spiritual things. So you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time because there's no appreciation. Of course, we're not wasting our time even though we don't have full realization that Krishna's there in his names. If you keep chanting, and this is brought up in the Upadeshamrita, we don't have it, but you just keep chanting, and the example is given of a particular disease that's like that. What is that disease? Jaundice. Did you ever follow that? You just keep eating the sugar candy and all that, then you never get jaundice? You're an Indian, you never got jaundice? Go back and get it. Do you know anyone who got it? Yeah. So that cure is the sugar, is a natural cure. You just keep sugar juice, and so on. It tastes horrible, but if you keep taking it, gradually you'll be cured, and your attraction for that sweet taste of the sugar will come back, because that's what's our natural position. So that's being brought out here in the purport. And Krishna is very, very pleased. How many here have read Mahatma's book on chanting and all the different, the small one, what do you call them? Affirmations. You know that one? One of the affirmations he brings out is that it's the most valuable gem in Krishna's treasure chest, the chanting of holy name. It's valuable for Krishna and valuable for us. It's really valuable. Now, what makes it so valuable? Why is it so valuable? Because the most valuable thing to Krishna is his loving relationship with every single living entity. And there are a few living entities who have left the spiritual world and come to the material world and completely forgotten their loving relationship with Krishna. So this causes some pain to Krishna. Because just like a child goes away from home, parents are sad, very, very sad. They just left. One devotee was saying the other day about Srila Prabhupada. You know, Prabhupada had 5 children. You know that? He had 5 children. One of them, it was, what do you call that? A mental disability. And one day he just walked away, never came back. So he lost the son. And actually he said, who was it speaking? He was a temple president in Calcutta for some time. Not Audrey, the one before that. Anyways, he spent a lot of time with Prabhupada in the early days. And he said Prabhupada told him the story, and actually Prabhupada was very moved by that. Then he had lost a son. So you have a child, and the child just goes away, even antagonistically for some time or whatever, gives up the relationship. It's very, very painful to the parents. My parents suffered. 2 of their children just left home, ran away. I was kidnapped by a benign religious cult in the 70s. At an early age, that really hurt them for some time. And then I had one brother who was also kidnapped by a religious cult in the 70s called the Moonies. Like that. So that really hurt him. That was a wild one. But he just left home. Of course, he was much older than me at the time. Or not much older, but a few years older. And anyway, so the parents are distraught. What to do? My child's gone away. So we've left Krishna, and he's distraught. And but the gem, the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, is described as the most valuable gem. And that whole Krishna has a pretty exquisite treasure chest of things, of gems and valuable things. Most valuable because by chanting Hare Krishna, the jiva revives his divine love, prema, and goes back to Godhead. So Krishna is so happy. And the jiva, it's the most valuable thing to him because you chant Hare Krishna, you revive your Krishna consciousness and go back to Godhead. You get out of the material world. So see how valuable that Hare Krishna mantra is. It's the most valuable thing because it revives that lost relationship between the jiva and Krishna. So valuable. So, Prabhupada's bringing that out here. Krishna's so happy that we start chanting because it means, well, you could say we're taking the medicine, we're taking the sugar cane, and very soon the jaundice of ignorance or avidya will go away. So it's very, very pleasing. Just like when the parents see the child come back. It's a phone call. Can I come home? It's like my brother my brother ran away before that just to be an idiot. And he came home. He was a teenager and just ran away. He's going to be a far out, freedom hippie kind of person, And he came. We were moving from. My father just retired from the Pentagon, so we're moving from Virginia to New England, or actually we're on Long Island, and then they lost contact. Then one day he shows up on the doorstep. Straggly, all that, covered in lice and all that. He'd been living in the slums in New York, being free. So he cleaned them all up and sent them back to high school. So they were so happy. There he is on the doorstep, And he came home, like the prodigal son, right, in the Bible. So, so happy. So Krishna's so happy when he sees us coming home, but the only way we can come home, that's the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That's why it's so valuable. There's really nothing else that will work, especially in the age of Kali. So Krishna's so happy, and Krishna's non-different. And I'm just going to read one quote because it's late. This is a quote by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. And he's addressing the fact that, we're chanting and chanting and chanting and chanting. We can become disillusioned or lose our enthusiasm or doubtful that will I ever become Krishna conscious? Do you ever think about that, Sankarshan? You're sitting in your rounds bobbing. Will I ever get this right? Will I ever chant? We all do that. It's like, just when, what was it Bhaktivinoda Thakur says? Kabi habe bolo se dinamar. When will that day be mine? Right? What is that? Aparada guchi sunanam neruchi. When all my offenses will cease and I'll actually have some taste for the holy name. When will that day be? We should make a T-shirt like that. We could sell that. The Kabi habe bolo se dinamar. Beautiful song. So he's reassuring his disciples here. There must be a letter from a lecture. I'll read this one quote, then we can end. So it's from letters, it says. All auspiciousness comes from the regular chanting of a fixed number of the holy names. It gives me great joy to know that you have understood this. Do not let up simply because various mundane thoughts disturb you while you are chanting the holy name. Do you ever get disturbed by mundane thoughts when you chant your rounds and chant Hare Krishna? It's like, when don't I? Okay. Such useless thoughts will gradually disappear as a result of the chanting. So there's hope. So don't become agitated on account of them. You cannot get the results of chanting prematurely. It's like, why am I not like rolling on the ground in ecstasy when I chant? I've been here for a few months or a few years. When you have a great deal of attraction for the holy name, the allure of mundane thoughts will diminish. If we do not have great enthusiasm for chanting, how will we ever get rid of such thoughts? ? If we serve the holy name with our bodies, minds, and souls, then the name will travel his all-auspicious form, will reveal his all-auspicious form to us. So if we just keep serving with our body, mind, and soul, the name will reveal its all-auspicious form to us. So don't lose faith. It all will happen in due course of time, just like the end of this class. So any questions or comments? Okay. Any other pastimes about Gopala Bhatta Goswami that you want to bring up or anything? Is there a feast today at lunch? Every day. Is Prema Priya cooking something special for Gopala Bhatta Goswami? Every day she cooks it something special. Okay, so we can end here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.